Hey hackers, Blue Cosmo from CCS here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are on the next section of the Introduction to Ethical Hacker course. Now, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, feel free to do that. That's cool. But you guys can actually take this course on our website, cosmodiumcs.com/courses. There you can check out this course and plenty of other cool courses that we've done in the past. It's kind of a good window to see all the cool courses that we have taught on this channel before. But other than that, I guess we can go ahead and get started. Today we're actually going to be learning about passive reconnaissance. You can guys see in my slide here, passive reconnaissance. This is the kind of stage 1. I mean, we had stage 0 where we covered some more introductory concepts, but now today we are doing the first concept of passive reconnaissance. Cool. So what is passive reconnaissance? Well, passive reconnaissance is the process of getting as much information as possible on a client without directly engaging with them. All right. So basically without, directly interacting with the client, but still getting as much information as you can. So this can take more time. It does typically take more time, especially if you're in government. This stage can take, up to several months of, passive reconnaissance. But it does provide, a better vision of what our target or client actually looks like. It is necessary for a successful engagement. Reconnaissance in general is just super important. It really gets you a strong layout and foundation of your client and what you're targeting and such. So the first tactic that is part of, passive reconnaissance is the ability to perform open source intelligence. This is also preferred or referred to as OSINT, open source intelligence. OSINT is basically a passive reconnaissance method, but it basically allows us to basically use the internet and use that to discover information on a client. That's the whole point of this, right? Using the internet to discover information on a client. So this can be from anything from, searching information on the client, whether it's their employees, whether it's the actual, client organization itself, that we're just getting information on their past, basically, what domains they're running, what services they can be running. Any information that we can get will be super vital in our ability to actually exploit them by finding vulnerabilities in any of these backends behind the client. So you can even check out the client website and look through information on the client website, looking for things like emails, looking for employee names and databases, and basically any information, even locations that they may show on the website can all prove to be super vital and super important through your OSINT processes. Even things like social media, seeing what social media platforms they're on, even seeing what social media platforms they are not on, can be vital because, you can create an account to fake the presence of the company. Of course, this has to be within scope of the, engagement, but, social media is very helpful. You can even find photos of certain employees who may have their ID be visible, so you can create replicate or a replicate of their IDs because it's in the photo. You'll even see pictures taken in the workspace. You'll see important or classified or business confidential information on the monitors in the backgrounds of the photos and such. So you can find a lot of information through social media as well. Google dorking is a tactic that we will just go through later, but it basically allows us to filter Google results and kind of target more information on our client. Even things like Google Maps can be important, right? Going on Google Maps and kind of getting an idea and a layout of our target can be super helpful. So, Google Maps, you can find, let's say if you're doing a physical engagement, right? So you actually are going to show up to the client organization. Let's say you're showing up to their headquarters, for example, say Apple. Let's say you're showing up to Apple's headquarters by going on Google Maps and getting a strong foundation of the type of layout they have, what the buildings look like, any open entrances, cameras, placement, security, all of that can be super important. So let's talk about Google dorking. Google dorking is kind of the tactic to filter our search results, right? Google dorking basically allows us, to find specific information on a specific client. And this process is called Google dorking. Google is one of the better web browsers to use when performing things like OSINT. I believe Yandex is also a good search engine to use. but we can, use Google. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Google. I would go in F11 to make this a little bit more clean, and I'll just do exclamation point OD, exclamation point G for Google, right? I'm on .gov, so you can just quickly do go into Google like that. But there are Google dorking tactics that we can actually perform. Let me actually make this a separate window so I can kind of talk about some of the cool things we can do with Google dorking. So I'll go ahead and do site : and then we can specify a website on Google. So we'll just do cosmodiumcs.com to specify our website, cosmodiumcs.com. So you can see all the results now are all specific to cosmodiumcs.com. There will not be a single search result that is not under the cosmodiumcs.com domain. So we can specify a website by using site : and then the name of the website. All right, so another tactic we can do is in title, and basically we can specify things within the HTML like title or specific content. So we can do title, and we can just do Cosmodium CS, and it will filter for anything that has Cosmodium CS within that HTML title. So we can see we already found our website, we found the Cosmodium CS GitHub, we found the Twitter account, Patreon, even the YouTube, even Graphtreon. I have no idea what that is. Oh, Patreon earnings. So you can get actual like statistics off of my Patreon this way. We found GitHub bots, Reddit. So we found the Reddit account, even hashtag Cosmodium CS things on Instagram. So this allows us to kind of find more information specific to the Cosmodium CS company. So now we're finding more information on what social media accounts they have, and we can all keep this down and document it so we can save it for our report. Cool. So the next Google dorking command we can do is in URL. So we can actually filter for content that is in the URL. Again, I'll just do Cosmodium CS to kind of keep it consistent amongst all these pages, but we can see, hey, all of these have Cosmodium CS within the actual URL of the website. So you can see Cosmodium CS is in the URL, this is in the URL, this is in URL. We can see replies from our Twitter account in that URL. So yeah, we can also find some general information through that aspect as well. All right, cool. So another command we can do is the ext. The ext basically specifies a type of file or extension. So we can do like something like PDF. I know Cosmodium won't pop up with too many results, so I'll do something like site for apple.com and then search for PDFs. I am not a robot. Cool. So we can see actual images, and now or like images for Apple, investor.apple.com, developer.apple.com. But this time, instead of just general web pages, you can see they're all PDF files that are being specified because we searched for the PDF extension. So I'll just click on let's do this one just because. So yeah, we can see that we have a PDF file. So the good thing about this is we can find PDF files that may have confidential information, business confidential information, or general information that could be helpful to us, and by filtering our searches down a little bit more. All right, so now we're going to talk about Google Maps. Google Maps, first of all, is an amazing tool for us at a penetration testing level, because when we do like something like a physical engagement, we really want to kind of get an understanding of the location that we will be testing, right? So if we're doing a physical engagement, so we're showing up to the facility, we'll just keep using Apple as the example, right? Let's say we're going to Apple headquarters. What we need to do is we need to make sure that we can know the layout of the location. We know what we're targeting. We know what security looks like. So we know what entry points are, etc. So the type of things we can look for when using something like Google Maps to look at our client location. Look for cameras, right? We want to see if there's any cameras around. How easy would it be for us to be spotted by something like them? Something else like entry points will also serve helpful because you have to find ways to get into your actual client organization. So finding things like entry points will be helpful to find ways into your client organization. Also, understanding the building layout can be very helpful because you can kind of understanding of what the building actually looks like and kind of almost form some sort of blueprint or schematics. Actually, finding even blueprints or schematics online about these buildings would even be more helpful to you as a penetration tester, to get an idea of what the building looks like and have a better idea, so you don't just walk into a building that you will be completely lost in, because that can kind of ruin your cover if you are trying to social engineer your way into a situation or pretend to be someone that you are not. So before we move on to those other tactics, I guess we can just we'll go on F11, we'll go full screen mode, and I'll go on !GM for Google Maps, and then I'll do Apple headquarters, just to kind of have an example here. All right, so it took us to actual, Apple headquarters. So you can see there's a bunch of different, Apple locations and stuff. I'll just choose the first one, which is Apple Park. Let's just pretend we have an engagement to, quote unquote, hack into Apple Park. So you can see Apple Park over here, the big disc. It's pretty cool, actually. I've never been there. I'd like to go there sometime. But yeah, let's actually click and drag this little dude, see if we can find some good entry points into Apple Park. I'll start off at this back area. I see a little building over here. Maybe that could be helpful. There you go. All right, perfect. So yeah, so there's already a gate back here. So this is an immediate possible entry point into the facility of Apple, right? Or the Apple Park, right? So we can see here there's a gate. There's some cameras here. You can see a camera here that you'll have to take note of. And then there's the mirrors here, so the cameras can reflect and see, other information back here, or other clientele back here. Some sort of way to open the gate right there. And then you can also see there's also a smaller entry point or entry access point. So yeah, so this kind of helps you to see a better image of what the actual structure and building will look like if you are trying to gain physical access and such. So this is a possible entry point, right? So we know that there's an entry point here. There's a camera right there too as well. So we see about three cameras here at this entry point from what we can see over here. I mean, you also should probably go down a little bit so you can get a better view of such. So there's a camera back there too. So yeah, they have plenty of cameras at this entry point. So that might not be the most ideal entry point. Let's see if we can find another one. Whoops, let me go back. All right, cool. So that was the entry point back here. I can see there looks like there's another entry point over here. So let's go ahead and check that one out if possible. Let's go right there, if that will let us go. All right, perfect. Oh yeah, so perfect, right? We are finding a little bit more of an easier way in. We can see there's a guy over here. He looks like a security guard guarding this entrance that is completely open. All right, so that's a little bit of a nicer entry point. We can see there's just a guard sitting down. So that's kind of a good indicator of this kind of security level over here. We can also see other information like some sort of security booth. The gate is open, so it looks fairly easy to enter. I'm sure there's restrictions and such, but we can keep going down. Maybe we can find more information. I'll go back out and see if we can drag myself somewhere a little bit closer. Oh yeah, so here's the front entrance. There's just a door. It looks pretty easy just to walk in. What you're talking about, especially because there's a sidewalk here. You can just walk straight in. You won't even need vehicle entrance. So let's see if we can get some sort of better view maybe. So there's that entrance. Can I actually, how far into this can I actually drag myself? I meant that very literally. Maybe let's go right here. See if we can get a little closer. All right, cool. So you can see another security guard also sitting down on their phone, not really paying attention. So I'm sure you can kind of walk in there at what you're doing. But this is kind of just a crude example of the type of reconnaissance you would be doing. I don't actually see too many. From what I can see, there's a camera here, but generally speaking, there isn't too many cameras. Another type of thing you would want to do is get that, bird's eye view of, your client or area, right? So get that bird's eye view, kind of see, kind of get that map look, right? So you can see there's like trails and stuff. So if you're able to get through the shrubbery, you might be able to take a trail inside and like, what you're doing. Obviously this is a park. This is kind of just to serve as a crude example. I mean, you can still do a pen test on the park. I'm sure there's networks and such in here. But this kind of serves as an example to the type of things you would be doing as a penetration tester, right? The type of stuff you're looking for, all of that type of information is the type of stuff you want to do. But yeah, so that's kind of just a crude example of how that stuff works. But other than that, let's kind of talk about some more passive reconnaissance tactics. So do you keep track of information, employees, workers, and attack vectors that you find, right? So you kind of want to keep a report of all that type of information, right? Even like employees that you can find that are vulnerable, right? If if you find like an employee on Reddit or something asking for help with some sort of technological issue, then you can come in as a possible vector, say, hey, I work for the service. I can come in and help you assist with the problem or something like that. All these different ways that you can find to kind of put yourself into that position and gain access into your client. Even something like Have I Been Pwned? Have I Been Pwned allows you to check emails and phone numbers to see if they've been leaked in database, like data leaks before. If you guys took our Introduction to Cybersecurity course, which is a requirement for this course, you guys should be familiar with data breaches and such. So we can search up like company emails, and if we can find, like, let's say if there's a company email, I'm sure there's like support@apple.com or something like that. So yeah, the support@apple.com has been pwned before, and you can see it's been in these 30 data breaches, and you can kind of do some more information on to see what those data breaches may have been, and if you can get those data breaches and those leaked passwords, you can possibly use a brute force attack using those passwords on that email to see if you can gain access into that email. But that's just type of things you can keep in mind. So Wapalizer is basically this web browser extension that allows you to visit or see what web apps, kind of like what services and stuff web apps are using. So if I go on like something like my website, for example, I can actually go to the top and click on Wapalizer, right? You can just install this on like Chrome or Firefox or whatever your preferred browser is, and you can see information on what web services and web apps the website is using. So you can see this website is using Wix, it's using some general other HTTP stuff, Pinterest with Pinterest webhooks and stuff. You can actually get some general information on the services they're using, see if there are any of these are actually vulnerable to any exploits and stuff, because you can even see the versions, and if one of these versions are vulnerable to some sort of exploit, then we can actually try to exploit that. There's even things like the exploit database, which I'm sure we'll cover later on, but the exploit database allows you to find vulnerabilities in versions and such. So even things like Sherlock. Sherlock is just another tool that is available to us. I'm sure you can find it on GitHub, and it basically just finds social media accounts. Isn't super helpful nowadays, but it is just kind of a cool thing you can think about when you're thinking about OSINT. But that is it. Next stage we'll be covering networking basics, but that is a future lecture, probably tomorrow's video. But if you want access to that video right now, you can actually take this course on cosmodiumcs.com/courses. All the videos are out on that website, and so you can just go over there, watch all the videos, take the full course, and yeah, link will be in the description if you guys are interested. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next one. So stay happy, stay positive, and as always, happy hacking. Hey hackers, Blue Cosmo from CCS here, and I wanted to introduce you guys to the Happy Hacker Site Plan. The Happy Hacker Site Plan is a plan where you guys can support us for only $1 a month. That's right, $1. With this comes exclusive benefits like courses, articles, videos, and access to our entire cybersecurity knowledge base. If this interests you and you guys want to get access to all this, check out the link in the description. It's only $1, so we definitely appreciate your guys' support. Anyway, enjoy the video, and happy hacking.